and big welcome to a cEDH TV card review for the new Grixis vampire, Evelyn the Covetous. I hope I pronounced that correctly, but I usually never do. So she has a really interesting mana cost. You can basically cast her for black, 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 and 2 generic, or blue, black, red, or blue, black, black, or red, black, black. So you could literally get her into play with a dark ritual and use 2 more colorless mana. She has flash, and that's really cool because her secondary ability is a triggered ability when she or another vampire comes into play. You will then exile the top card of each player's library with a collection counter on it. While she's in play, and only when she's in play, you may once each turn, you may play a card from exile with a collection counter on it, and you may pay mana of any color to cast those spells. This means that it's both a possible combo finisher commander from the command zone, as well as being a form of card drawing potential. On her ATB, you're going to gain something between 2 to 3 cards. Now in theory you're going to get 4 cards, but you're usually ending up with useless dead cards you never wanna cast as well on those hits. So I'm gonna say 2 to 3. Now first up, if we would have access to green in her color identity, she could have been a great food chain commander, because you're able to return her back to the command zone with food chain, and with the infinite mana that you have acquired with the food chain, you can cast her infinitely, exiling all of your opponent's libraries, including your own, and then basically do whatever you want. Nevertheless, she can't do that, but she can do Worldgorger Dragon. So here we have Necromancy, and Necromancy is actually a really interesting selection here because of the instant speed capability. You may choose to play Necromancy as an instant. If you do, bury it at end of turn. Now if you have Worldgorger Dragon in your graveyard and you cast Necromancy in instant speed, you're returning Worldgorger Dragon back into play. This means you're gonna get a Worldgorger Dragon trigger, exiling everything you control, including the Necromancy. When Necromancy leaves the connection from the Worldgorger Dragon, which it will do by the Worldgorger Dragon trigger, Worldgorger Dragon will go back to the graveyard. And then everything comes back, which means Necromancy comes back into play, returning Worldgorger Dragon back into play once again, and you have a loop, because your lands are coming in and out instantly as well, which means they're coming back into play untapped. Which means here you have infinite mana. Now this is where the flash on Evelyn is really interesting, because with the infinite mana, you can cast Evelyn and then she will join the Worldgorger Dragon loop. Worldgorger Dragon will sit there and continually exile and bring everything back over and over, including your commander, which means you will exile all decks around the table. There's just one really big problem. This is a really bad combo and I really don't recommend playing it. You see, this combo is considered to be a all-in combo or a suicide combo because the 2 abilities on the Worldgorger Dragon aren't connected. They are 2 different abilities. So in response to the first ability, still on the stack, if someone removes Worldgorger Dragon, that secondary ability will trigger, but nothing is coming back because nothing have been removed yet. Worldgorger Dragon now goes away with that Sword of Plowshare or that bounce spell that returns back to its hand, and then that first ability resolves, exiling everything. But there's no ability to return it back. So you literally lose all of your lands, your entire board state, everything, and it's not coming back. You might as well concede at that point. But honestly, we don't need that because we have access to Dimir, which means we can play Fastest, Consult, and Tainted Pact. Also, with access to red, we can play Underworld Breach, Brain Freeze, and Lion's Eye Diamond. Also, a great combo for the Grixis color identities. Lion's Eye Diamond can sometimes be a dead card inside your deck, but I don't think it's gonna be that inside this commander because it's gonna help you get that commander into play more efficiently. And this is where the hybrid black, black, black is great, because you can sacrifice your Lion's Eye Diamond for 3 black and then get your commander into play something as turn 2 or turn 3 at a great efficiency. Now you're going to lose your entire hand, but that isn't that big of a deal as you're gaining 2 to 3 new cards from it. She also has a really interesting interaction versus top deck tutors like Vampiric Tutor. Now this shouldn't theoretically happen, but if someone is casting a Vamp Tutor before they draw the card, you can cast your commander with a flash and steal the card. Now flash is really great because casting a 5 CMC commander is really risky as you're normally tapping out, which means you can't interact with your counterspells versus opponents trying to win the game. But with this commander, you're safer to grind value, because you just cast her in your last opponent's end step, and then you untap and you take your turn and you start to use the value that you've gained from her. But how good is that value? I think we should start comparing her with Kess, Dissident Mage, with a lower CMC. Now Evelyn have a more interesting CMC, but I think the lower CMC is better overall. Now Evelyn has a flash ability, which means you're always kinda safe casting this commander in instant speed during last opponent's end step, while Kess has to come into play and you have to pass turn being tapped down, which is really risky. But Kess has an ongoing value, guys. You can cast spells from your graveyard over and over, while Evelyn, you have to send her back to the command zone and then recast her. With Evelyn, you could get a little bit stuck. Let's say you're flipping into something you don't really want to have. Now you need to get her back to your hand or to the command zone so you can cast her again to get more value. And then this time she's going to cost like 7, or you're paying 5 from the hand, so that's a little bit annoying. Your opponents are never going to kill her because they don't want to enable that grind value again. Also, she has a toughness of 5, so if someone is attacking you and she's blocking, she's never going to really die either. But we can solve this by playing tribal vampires. Here's a really good vampire for you. It's an hate bear, 1 black mana, and this is a great card on its own. Oh, it's like a decent card on its own. It's not like great, but it's cEDH playable, kinda. There's a problem with this specific card. It has the color identity of green, which means we can't actually play this vampire in the end. Here's a cool vampire, Vizier Seer, that's seeing play in a lot of different cEDH decks that are requiring sack outlets for their combo to work. We are not requiring a sack outlet to make our combo work, or well, we could include a infinite mana outlet and then include a bunch of sack outlets, but now we're building like a really complicated combo that is first generating infinite mana and then also requires a sack outlet in the process, and I just find that bad. I don't think this is a great card for this commander at all. Then we have this vampire that I actually think is a great vampire. The only problem here is that it's demanding that you're playing vampire tribal for it to work. And we're already having problem, in my opinion, to find enough vampires that are good for cEDH that also just happens to be vampires. Like, this is good, but it's not enough, you need more. But let's go back and talk about that Vizier Seer. It's just 1 black mana to get a trigger from your commander. You're going to get 4 cards from 4 different libraries, and you're going to hurt your opponent's decks a tiny bit as well. No, absolutely not. It's a trap. We're suddenly including bad cards to make a good synergy work. And I will agree that the cards will be good when you have the synergy completed, but they will be bad all the time when your commander isn't in play. So when, not if, when, because it's going to happen. Draenei Magistrate is popular enough to see play that this is going to happen. You can't cast your commander because Draenei is preventing that. So all of your Vizier Seer versions, all your CMC 1 black mana vampires are gonna be terrible cards just hanging in your hand doing nothing until you top deck into a spot removal for that Draenei Magistrate. Kess doesn't have this problem because Kess doesn't play a bunch of cards that will only be good when you have your commander Kess in play. Now sure, you won't be able to cast Kess, and if Draenei lands after Kess, you won't be able to use your graveyard, but the deck is still able to play without Kess in it. I also think there's just a whole bunch of different commanders out there that are doing the exact same thing, just better. Different mana cost, different colors, but Paco here is an amazing card at grinding value from the top of your opponent's library. Every time this doggy attacks, you're getting the same amount of value, and you don't even need to have your Paco in play. And the Paco is also growing in power and toughness on each of these triggers. I also think that T-Balt is a must mention as well. On the +2 ability, exile the top card of each player's library. The exact same thing can be repeated over and over. And also, T-Balt can exile creatures and artifacts on his minus ability, having an interaction from the command zone, but also a win con from the command zone if you're able to ultimate T-Balt, which actually happens sometimes. Now, sure, Evelyn definitely has better color identities, but I don't think that is valuing enough out Paco or Tibalt. As a finalized review, I think this commander is really interesting. The card and the word on it is perfectly, and it's just like it should be, with great potential, but it's just small things that is preventing it from going the complete distance. The Worldgorger Dragon combo is a really interesting combo for this commander, but the Worldgorger Dragon combo is a little bit weird and shouldn't be recommended at all, so a better combo could be great. If it had access to green, let's just remove that blue and swap it out for green, that could do huge things. The second problem, the value problem. Let's talk a little bit more about the vampire tribal here. Wizards of the Coast are 100% going to print more vampires, and when they accidentally print vampires, it just happens to be good for cEDH, and we reach a critical mass of enough vampires to successfully make a cEDH tribal vampire deck, then this is going to be a functional commander for that vampire tribal deck. But in the end, that's gonna take a long time until we reach that critical mass. In the end, this commander could definitely see some play inside some CD games, because the one-time use of this commander coming into play, giving you a small value, and that's it, could be enough for it to see some cool action. But I don't think this is going to be a commander that we see that much action of inside the community. It's probably gonna see some gameplay videos here and there, but that's gonna be it, I think. It looks fun, I will give it that. Vampire Tribal Casual could be really fun with this commander. That's all I have to say for this time. Take care, guys. See you next time. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what I do and you wanna support me, feel free to share my videos or even checking out my Patreon page. Also, purchasing cards from the TCG Players website using the affiliate link in the description below of the video will also help the channel grow. So a big thank you to all of you.